Welcome to the Gratitude List with my guest this week, Gary Lightbody. Gary, thank you for sticking around to fulfill a little bit of bonus content.
No problem, John.
But often it can be really enlightening as to, the practical things or the sort of day-to-day stuff that helps people get through. And I've found gratitude always to be a useful island to come to when things are difficult or where I'm struggling to make sense of the world. And I wondered what part gratitude plays in your life.
Massive. I'm very, very grateful, and I try and make all the people in my life very aware of that as much as possible. They're definitely not in the dark about how I feel about them. I think it's important.
I guess it's one thing to feel it, but it is actually important to communicate it. I think that's something I could be better at, because I do, before I go to bed, I think, I'm really grateful for all the people who've, worked harder than me in order to make the projects I do come to fruition. But that doesn't mean I actually tell them. So does it count if you don't say it?
Well, they say it in kind of the spiritual realm. I'm not super familiar with it, but that you say it out to the universe about how grateful you are. So saying it out loud, it has some effect somewhere in the subconscious realm.
Okay, so if you're listening and you ever worked for me in any way, this is your thanks. I'm very grateful for the shift you put in. So maybe we could talk about some things you're grateful for. We try to list 5, but do feel free to riff them, and they can be as mundane or as big as you like.
The first 2 combined are very, very easy and come to mind just immediately, and that's Johnny McDaid and Nathan Connolly, my 2 brothers in Snow Patrol. We've just made a fairly new album. We're on tour at the moment together, and the band's been going for 30 years, and I am just so happy to see them every time I see them, and so happy to make music with them, and so happy that they're in my life, and so grateful for them both. They're just 2 of the most extraordinary humans that I've ever known, and I can't think of a better place to start on a gratitude list with those 2 awesome gentlemen.
So I think a lot of people in bands or in any kind of creative team may well say that, but you genuinely, I can see that you mean it.
Yeah, I mean it with my whole heart, yeah.
Is there stuff you actively do to maintain that? Because, it's a cliche of bands falling out and living in each other's pockets and getting sick of sharing. So you end up with like three enormous tour buses for 3 people or whatever. But
yes,
is there a dialogue between the 3 of you that nourishes that relationship?
Yeah, we have we're very, very open and honest relationship.